Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be presenting to you our final project for AI in Business, our NFL player comparison tool. Starting off with our overall business problem, it comes down to difficulty comparing new prospects to past players. Scouting today leans heavily on outdated methods like spreadsheets, manual film review, and subjective judgment. Even though we have more data than ever, teams often lack tools that turn this raw data into meaningful insights. This gap can lead to costly mistakes during the draft, especially when time is tight and decisions are high stakes. Why this matters? This can lead to a lot of financial trouble for teams through loss in money in contracts and in ticket sales based on poor draft decisions. There's limited time to evaluate hundreds of players. The draft window, or the window between the NFL draft and the NFL combine, is very tight. And then stats alone don't tell the full story. It's often very helpful to have an example to compare a prospect to versus just numbers or qualitative data. Our solution, we're creating a natural language scouting assistant that lets NFL teams instantly compare prospects to past players using a combination of combine data, college stats, and scouting report traits.
So here's a demo of our final product. As you can see, the scout can input the player's position, a scouting report that they'd write themselves, their college stats for the prospect, measurables about the player, such as their weight and height, and then the results from the combine, such as the results of their 40-yard dash. And it's okay if the prospect doesn't participate in all of the events of the combine, as this will generate a summary of the player's prospect profile. So let's hit search. And as you can see, the LLM has determined that this player is an explosive playmaker. It's a powerful runner and a promising ball carrier. And you see a similar player right here is Saquon Barkley, who's also an explosive runner. You can also see a lot of other data about Saquon Barkley, such as such as his combine stats and his college stats, with talking about his rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. And this right here is a player from this year's draft class, Bajal Tutin. So you can see what players he's most similar to. So how does this solution work? So as you saw in the demo, the user inputs prospect data such as measurables, college stats, and their scouting report. The LLM then takes that information and summarizes that data so that it can be used to query using the retriever. And then the retriever grabs from a data set of 1,700 NFL players who were once prospects, finds their combine data, college stats, and scouting report, and pulls the most similar in meaning and in keywords to the query that the LLM has generated. We then pass the most similar players through the LLM again to re-rank it based on how similar they are to the original prospect. And from there, we get the 10 most similar players.
So lastly, I'll be covering the potential impact of our scouting assistant and its real-world implementations. First, like any model, there's a risk of bias. Certain data points might influence results more than others, and this may not tell the full story of a player. This shows the importance of using this tool for support rather than replacing humans. On the privacy side, there are no major concerns here because all the data we use from combine results to college stats is all publicly available. To mitigate bias and misuse, we emphasize again that this tool should be used as an assistant and not a replacement, as it's meant to be used with proper oversight. We also designed it to adapt to data availability, so just because a player didn't attend the combine, they're not going to be penalized for it. The model will just evaluate them based on the data that's available. Looking ahead, we plan to evaluate this tool by tracking how the players actually perform in the NFL and then refining the model if needed.